Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're going to continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5. We're on the purport of text 30. Does anyone remember the main point? Any something particular that you remember from yesterday's reading?
The main point from yesterday's reading was like the offenses. Also, we read about a lot of offenses and the chewing the chewed. Prahlāda Maharaj
What
saying
does
that
it mean?
stop.
What does chewing the chewed mean?
So that means that the senses, it's the sense enjoyment that we are getting indulged in for life after life. And we think that there will be joy.
Yeah,
But
we have done it. That's right. Yeah, and we are still thinking we are going to find pleasure in it, like in the chewing the chewed. There's no juice there already, but we are still trying to get some enjoyment out of this sense enjoyment. Okay, thank you so much. So we are going to continue. Okay. So then, so in the name of personalism, this ism or that ism, such persons always remain attached to the materialistic way of life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 2:44, Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya prarata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhavana vidhiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita is Bhogeshwarya Prasaktanam, one who is too attached to sense enjoyment, too attached to material opulence. You know, we get so attracted to the opulences in the material world, and we are not able to understand. We think that this is it, that we are going to be happy by indulging in it. Then we don't get this determination. We don't get this firm conviction that, oh, I need to engage in devotional service, because we are still thinking we are the body. So we are like, oh, wow, this is so beautiful. There's so nice things happening here. Let me try to enjoy more and more. So our real determination for devotional service does not happen because we are not able to understand, oh, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. So those who are attached to material enjoyment cannot be fixed in devotional service to the Lord. They cannot understand Bhagwan Krishna or his instruction, Bhagavad Gita. Adanta Gobir Vashatam Tamisram. Their path actually leads toward hellish life. So why hellish life? Because then we are committing one sin after another, not understanding that actually everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna is the proprietor, and because Krishna is the proprietor, he's the enjoyer. Whereas we are thinking, oh, everything is created for my enjoyment. The actual fact of the matter is that Krishna is the proprietor, so everything should be used in his service. And in that way, we will be able to enjoy. We will really feel that bliss that we are looking for. What we are thinking is if we enjoy our senses, we are going to be happy. And we have been doing that life after life, but we don't find that happiness. Because the real way is to engage everything in Krishna's service. And in that way, we can experience that happiness that we are looking, as confirmed by Rishabdev, Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimukte. One must try to understand Krishna by serving a devotee. So, how to understand Krishna? How to understand Krishna is by serving a devotee. When we serve the devotee, Maharaj Rishabdev is saying that the door to liberation gets open. Means we are walking in the path of liberation. We will gradually get liberated by serving the devotee. Any example, Any pastime you remember, any example you remember, somebody served the devotee, got liberated? Anyone?
Narad Muni.
That's right. Yes, Narad Muni. He was just a small boy. He was barely and was not even educated, illiterate. He served the devotees and he became Narad Muni then. Such a great personality. So the word Mahat refers to a devotee. Mahatmanas tu mam partha devim prakritim ashrita bhajanti ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. Osana pratha. Those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They're fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 13. So, Mahatma, Krishna is saying, who is a Mahatma? The pure devotee. The pure devotee is a Mahatma. Why? Because he's understood. Oh, Krishna is the cause of all causes. Everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna is the creator. I am a servant of Krishna. And so he's engaging in devotional service. So such a soul is a Mahatma, a great soul. A Mahatma is one who is constantly engaged in devotional service 24 hours a day. As explained in the following verses, unless one adheres to such a great personality, one cannot understand Krishna. So by serving the Mahatmas, we will be able to understand Krishna. Just as we said that Narad Muni served the Mahatmas and he became Narad Muni. He can understand Krishna. Bhagavatam also says that when we serve the devotee, then great service is done. What happens is we get an attraction to hear about Krishna. That's what happened to Narad Muni. He served the devotees and he got very attracted to hear about Krishna. So he was hearing from the great souls, those Mahatmas over there. And then when one gets this great affinity to hear the message of Krishna, then Krishna who's in the heart, he takes away, he cleans our heart, he cleans our material desires. Because Krishna is seeing, oh, this devotee is interested, he's eagerly wanting to understand me, as this eagerness to hear. So Krishna in the heart, he helps. When we are chanting the holy name helps us to purify our heart, take away all the dirty things in the heart. So Hiranyakashipu wanted to know where Prahlāda had gotten this Krishna consciousness. Who had taught him? Prahlāda sarcastically replied, my dear father, persons like you never understand Krishna. One can understand Krishna only by serving a Mahat, a great soul. Those who try to adjust material conditions are said to be chewing the chewed. So Prahlāda Maharaj is saying, you won't be able to understand. You're just engaged in sense gratification. One sense gratification after another, chewing the chewed. There's no juice there. Still, we want to see maybe something is there. Maybe I'll get some pleasure there. But whereas to understand Krishna, need to serve a pure devotee, a great soul, a Vaishnava. So no one has been able to adjust material conditions, but life after life, generation after generation, people try and repeatedly fail. Unless one is properly trained by a Mahatma or unalloyed devotee of the Lord, there is no possibility of one's understanding Krishna and his devotional service. So we need to hear from the pure devotee, serve a pure devotee. The pure devotee, he helps us that how we can understand Krishna, how we can engage in devotional service. He gives us the essence of all the scriptures, because, for example, we may buy the textbooks, but the teachers are needed to teach us how to read this textbook. What is actually the text trying to tell us? So similarly, the pure devotee, he tells us, like Srila Prabhupada, we are following Srila Prabhupada. He said, okay, do like this, don't do like this. So whatever's in the scriptures, he's brought it for us, the essence that do like this, don't do like this. And make your life successful. Is that okay?
Yes.
Comments, questions, or we'll go on to the next one?
No, all good. Very true.
Okay. So going on to 31. Nate vidu swartagatim hi Vishnum
Nate vidu
Katim
Vishnu
Vishnu
durashaya ye bahir arthamanina
Durashaya
Shayali Bahir Arthamanina
andayathander upaniyamanas
Andayathander
Upaniyamana
te pishatantriyam urudamni baddhaha.
Te api
Pisha
iyam
Tantriyam Urudamani Bettaha.
Persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life and who have therefore accepted as the leader or guru a similar blind man attached to external sense objects cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home, back to Godhead, and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu as blind men guided by another blind man. Miss the right path and fall into a ditch. Materially attached men, led by other materially attached men, are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor, which are made of very strong cords, and they continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold miseries. So, what's the goal of life? Here, Prahlāda Mahārāja is saying,
Devotional service.
yeah, devotional service. The goal of life, go back home, back to Godhead, and engage in service of Lord Vishnu. Yeah. We are thinking our goal is something else, maybe we are following some people who are taking us away from this goal. And Prahlāda Mahārāja is saying, if we follow the people who don't understand that actually goal of life is to go back to Godhead, then they themselves are going to be here in the material world of birth and death. And those who follow them are also going to be in the world of birth and death. And in this world of birth and death, there is 3 types of miseries at every moment. At every moment, there is a misery, but just the misery keeps changing. So we find a relief, Just like Prabhupada would explain, we are carrying a heavy load. Suppose we have it in the right hand. After some time, the right hand starts paining too much because it's heavy. So we shift it to the left hand. So momentarily, we feel relief because the right hand is relief. But in some time, the left hand also will start paining now. So there is momentarily relief, but not actual relief, because one or the other misery is there. That's how Prabhupada would explain it. We are not able to understand that there is continuous misery. We are not able to understand because we find the temporary relief. So we think, I'm so happy now. So since there must be always a difference of opinion between demons and devotees, Hiranyakashipu, when criticized by his son Prahlāda Mahārāja, should not have been surprised that Prahlāda Mahārāja differed from his way of life. Nonetheless, Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry and wanted to rebuke his son for deriding his teacher or spiritual master, who had been born in the Brahmana family of the great Acharya Shukracharya. So Prabhupada is explaining that, Hiranyakashipu shouldn't have been surprised. He's asking his son, what's the best thing you learned from your teachers? And Hiranyakashipu is thinking from his point of view that Prahlāda Maharaj, the best thing he's learned is about politics. But Prahlāda Maharaj has a different view itself. He doesn't care about politics. He's saying the best thing I learned is devotional service. So anyway, so now Hiranyakashipu is just angry that, what are you saying, So the word shukra, and then that you're going against your teacher, this great teacher, Shanda and Amarka, they're great brahmanas. You're not even following their orders. What are you doing? The word shukra means semen, and acharya refers to a teacher or guru. Hereditary gurus or spiritual masters have been accepted everywhere since time immemorial. But Prahlāda Maharaj declined to accept such a seminal guru or take instruction from him. An actual guru is Shrotriya, one who has heard or received perfect knowledge through parampara, the disciplic succession. So here Prabhupada is explaining, what does Shukracharya mean? Shukra, seaman, acharya, teacher. So what used to happen, or maybe still happens, that there are like family gurus. It's like a family of gurus, and then they are the priest for a particular family, for generations and generations. But they may not be qualified. Just like the son of a lawyer, he may not be a lawyer. If he's not gone to law school, he's certainly not a lawyer. He'll become a lawyer only if he goes to law school, passes the exam, does some practice. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. Actual guru is one who has received perfect knowledge through parampara. Not that you're born in the family of a guru, so you become a guru. No. You have the perfect knowledge. And that's how you become guru. And hearing the perfect knowledge in the disciplic succession. Therefore, Prahlāda Maharaj did not recognize a seminal spiritual master. Such spiritual masters are not at all interested in Vishnu. Indeed, they are hopeful of material success. Bahir Arthamani, na? So that's why Prahlāda Maharaj did not even consider Shanda and Amarka as his spiritual master. He considered Narad Muni as his guru, not Shanda Amarka, because they're not fit. They're not teaching about Vishnu. They're teaching about material things. The word Bahi means external, Artha means interest, and Manina means taking very seriously. Generally speaking, practically everyone is unaware of the spiritual world. It's true, no? What do we know about the spiritual world? I mean, before we heard from Srila Prabhupada, I don't know if we knew much about the spiritual world. Many have the idea spiritual world is a void, or there's just some light, there's, or it's just some dark, I don't know. But the real knowledge of spiritual world, hardly anyone has it. The knowledge of the materialist is restricted within the 4 billion mile limit of this material world, which is in the dark portion of the creation. They do not know that beyond the material world is the spiritual world. So with our material senses, all we can get is material knowledge. So it's just limited to this universe. And this universe is in dark section of the creation. So like, for example, the prison is also within the country, right? The prison is also within the country. Similarly, this material world is also in the Brahman, but it is very dark. Here, the Mahatattva is put to cover it up. And then this is where the creation is happening. And beyond is the material world. Unless one is a devotee of the Lord, one cannot understand the existence of the spiritual world. Gurus, teachers who are simply interested in this material world are described in this verse as andha, blind. Such blind men may lead other blind followers without true knowledge of material conditions, but they are not accepted by devotees like Prahlāda Maharaj. So somebody may be, claiming that they are in the position of teachers or leaders, but they don't have the knowledge. And Prahlāda Maharaj does not accept such people as real gurus or real leaders. Such blind teachers, being interested in the external material world, are always bound by the strong ropes of material nature, because he himself is bound up. He himself is not understood. I'm not this body. So he's still enamored by the world. So if he himself is bound up, how will he release his disciple, his follower? One has to be free to be able to free the other person. We suppose somebody is bound on the chair by a very tight rope, cannot get loose. Somebody who's free has to come and release. But one who's already bound, how can he release them? So that's the reason Prahlāda Mahārāja is rejecting such persons. And the importance is given to follow the pure devotees. We just heard in the previous verse that worship, that serve the pure devotee, and then the door to liberation is open. But if we serve someone who himself is materialistically inclined, bound by the material world, so then we will continue to stay in the material world. Is that okay?
Yes.
Any comments?
All is so true.
Yeah. Who we follow, we are going to go there.
Yeah.
Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, who you worship, you're going to go there. And we can see practically also, people we associate with or we follow, then we become like them, right?
Yes.
Because we are following what they are doing, so then we'll also become like them then. Okay. Nesham matistavat urukram anikrim
Nasamatistavat urukramam grihi
prashati anartha pagamo yad artha
Prashati anartha pagamo yad artha
Mahiya sampadarajo
Mahi sampadarajo abhishekam
Nishkinchananam navrinita yavat
Nishkinanam vrinitayavat.
Unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnav, completely freed from material contamination. Persons very much inclined toward materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord in this way can one be freed from material contamination. Becoming Krishna conscious brings about anartha apagama, the disappearance of all anarthas, the miserable conditions we have unnecessarily accepted. Anartha, that which is not wanted. It's not good for our progress. But we somehow are very attached to them and we hold them in our heart. Now, how to give them up? When we become Krishna conscious. When we chant, the more we hear, the more we chant, the more we engage in devotional service, the more the anarthas will go. The material body is the basic principle of these unwanted, miserable conditions. The entire Vedic civilization is meant to relieve one from these unwanted miseries. But persons bound by the laws of nature do not know the destination of life. Because we are thinking we are the body. The body is actually meant for suffering. This world is meant for suffering. We are thinking we are the body, that this world is for our enjoyment. So we have somehow put ourselves in a very unfortunate position where we are not able to understand the truth that we are spirit souls and we shouldn't be here in this material world, which is full of suffering. Like when we go through a garbage bin, what we are going to find is just garbage. Now we are thinking in the garbage bin, I'm going to find some nice things. That's what we are trying to do. And because this world is a place of suffering. It's a place where there is envy, there's anger, there's lust. So then of course there will be suffering where all these things are there. So as described in the previous verse, Isha Tantriyam Urudam Nibata, they are conditioned by the three strong modes of material nature. The education that keeps the conditioned soul bound life after life is called materialistic education. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained that materialistic education expands the influence of Maya. Such an education induces the conditioned soul to be increasingly attracted to materialistic life and to stray further and further away from liberation, from unwanted miseries. It's true, no? We just get so caught up and we think that our material education is all in all, because of course we need it, because that's going to help us to stay in the material world. But the idea is, how do we get out of the material world? We are very well suited, we are very well adapting how to stay here. But the whole point is that we should understand how to get out of here. Because till the time we are here in the material world, we are going to suffer, because it is a place of suffering. So the only way to end the suffering is to get out of here, to understand I'm not the body, I'm the spirit soul. And my duty is to engage in devotional service and to go back to the spiritual world. So one may ask why highly educated persons do not take to Krishna consciousness. The reason is explained in this verse. Unless one takes shelter of a bona fide, fully Krishna conscious spiritual master, there is no chance of understanding Krishna. So here, because Prahlāda Mahārāja is saying how to understand Krishna by serving the devotee, only then can we understand Krishna. So we may have a lot of education, we may be highly qualified in our material sense, but we may not be able to understand Krishna. Why? Because not served a devotee. Krishna says, one who is my devotee is not my devotee, but who is a devotee of my devotee is my devotee. Means serving a great soul, serving his representative. And here Prahlāda Mahārāja is saying, smear the dust of the lotus feet of the devotee, of a Vaishnava. And so that very powerful, the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, very powerful. The remnants of a Vaishnava, very powerful. Who got liberated by having the remnants of the pure devotees? Narad Muni, he was a small child. He took uh, the remnants of those devotees and he became a great devotee. So the lotus feet, the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee, the water that has washed the feet of a Vaishnava and the remnants of a Vaishnava, very powerful. The educators, scholars, and big political leaders worshipped by millions of people cannot understand the goal of life and take to Krishna consciousness, for they have not accepted a bona fide spiritual master and the Vedas. Therefore, in the Mundaka Upanishad 3.2.3, it is said, Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhayo na Medaya na Bahuna Shrutena. One cannot become self-realized simply by having an academic education, by presenting lectures in an erudite way, pravachanena labhaya, or by being an intelligent scientist who discovers many wonderful things. So only academic cannot get us liberation. One may have studied the Vedas, but not understand that the goal of Vedas is Krishna. The goal of Vedas is to understand who we are, who's God, what's our relationship with him, engage in that relationship, and revive our love for him. So we need the mercy of the devotee. One cannot understand Krishna unless one is graced by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only one who has surrendered to a pure devotee of Krishna and take in the dust of his lotus feet can understand Krishna. First, one must understand how to get out of the clutches of Maya. The only means is to become Krishna conscious. Krishna says, Devi hi esha gunamai mama maya duratyaya. Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. That he says that this material world is this divine energy made of these three modes of nature: goodness, passion, ignorance. Very difficult to overcome. Can't get out of Maya, cannot get out of the clutches of the modes. But those who surrender to me can very easily come out of this material world. So Krishna is saying that. So only means to get out of the material world is to surrender to Krishna. And surrender to Krishna begins by chanting Hare Krishna. The mantra that we have been given for this age of Kali, to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. The scriptures are saying Hare Nam, Hare Nam eva kevalam, kalau nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatir anyata. The scriptures are saying you want liberation, you want to get out of the material world, chant the holy name of Krishna. So, and to become Krishna conscious, very easily one must take shelter of a realized soul, a Mahat or Mahatma, whose only interest is to engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. So, to get out of the world, we have to surrender to Krishna. We have to become Krishna conscious. How to do that? We serve a pure devotee. Get the lotus, get the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee. Take shelter of a devotee, pure devotee, a Vaishnava, a Mahatma, a great soul. So, as the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9:13, Mahatmanas tu mam partha devim prakritim ashrita bhajanti ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They're fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So the pure devotee, he is under the shelter of the spiritual energy. He's not under the shelter of this material energy. All his activities are being protected by the spiritual energy. And what they are doing, they're engaging in devotional service 24/7, all the time. Therefore, to end the unwanted miseries of life, one must become a devotee. So we are trying to find so many different solutions to our material problems, but the only way, the only solution actually is to become Krishna conscious. Chant the holy name. So one may say, what do you mean? So for all different diseases, we have different medicines. You don't take one medicine for all diseases and you'll get cured. How can you have just one solution for all the problems? So we have to understand what's the root of all these problems. The root of all the problems is because we are thinking we are the body. That is the root of all the problems. So then when we can understand that, then we engage in devotional service. And then that is the real solution of all the problems. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akanchana sarver gunes tatra samasate sura. One who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna consistently manifests all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods. Bhagavatam 5:18-12. So the pure devotee, he has all the divine qualities. He has all godly qualities. Yasya deve parabhaktir yatha deve tatha guru tasyaite kathita hi artha prakashante mahatmana. Yasya deve parabhaktir yatha deve tatha guru. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. The Shriteshvatara Upanishad 623 is saying this. So to have faith in both the spiritual master and in Krishna. And what should be the percentage of the faith? Equal faith. Equal faith in both Guru and Krishna. And if one can have that, then one will realize all the scriptures. One will be able to understand what all the scriptures are telling us. All the knowledge will be revealed to him because of this faith. Yam evesha vrinute tena labhyastasya sa atma vivrinute tanum swam. The Lord is obtained only by one whom he himself chooses. To such a person he manifests his own form. Mundaka Upanishad 323. So the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Your Mundaka Upanishad is saying one can see the Lord only when one is chosen by him. He chooses who he wants to associate with. These are Vedic injunctions. One must take shelter of a self-realized spiritual master, not a materially educated scholar or politician. One must take shelter of a niskanchana, a person engaged in devotional service and free from material contamination. That is the way to return home back to Godhead. So taking shelter of a Vaishnava, niskanchana, free from material contamination, and going back home, back to Godhead. Kapila Dev also says, get attached to the pure devotee. Rishabh Dev is saying, serve the pure devotee. Here Prahlāda Mahārāja is saying the same thing. So we can see what all the Mahajans are telling us. That serve a pure devotee to get the mercy of Krishna, get out from this material world. So by serving Srila Prabhupada, by serving his mission, spreading the Krishna consciousness, giving out his books, we can serve Srila Prabhupada. Great service is done by serving ISKCON. That's serving a pure devotee. Is that okay? Questions, comments?
No, also true. That's all. And very important, we must have the faith like we just read.
Yeah. So
Very
how to
important to have
cultivate the faith? How to
Just
cultivate the
chant.
faith?
Just chant. Just chant.
Chant, yes. And associate, chant, very good. And associate with persons who have the faith.
Yeah.
Chanting and associating with the persons who have the faith. Then we will also get this faith.
Yes.
So that we can chant in the right mood, So, in that. Okay. So maybe, okay, we can read this one. Iti uktvo paratam putram.
Iti uktvo paratam putram.
Hiranyakashipurusha.
Hiranyakashipurusha.
Andikritatma svato sangan.
Andikritatma svato sangan.
Nirasyata mahitale.
Nirasyata mahitale.
After Prahlāda Mahārāja had spoken in this way and become silent, Hiranyakashipu, blinded by anger, threw him off his lap and onto the ground. My God. He's become so angry because Prahlāda is glorifying devotional service. He's glorifying the Supreme Lord. He's glorifying the position of the devotee. And that is really got to Hiranyakashipu. Aham rusha vishta. Kashayi bhutalochana. Vadyatam asva ayam vadyo. Nihesarayata nerata. I'm not sure if someone was reading, but
Oh,
you were
sorry,
muted.
I was reading, but I
Okay,
forgot to
sorry.
unmute you. Sorry, Hare Krishna.
No worries. No worries. That's okay. Indignant and angry, his reddish eyes like molten copper, Hiranyakashipu said to his servants, O demons, take this boy away from me. He deserves to be killed. Kill him as soon as possible. Hiranyakashipu, he has everything. He has everything. But he is not able to control his anger. He wants to kill his own son, and such a nice son, Mahabhagavad. And he wants to kill this pure devotee of the Lord. We'll stop here for today if there are no questions or comments.
No, I was just thinking, it's the conversation that's been going on by the son and father, a pure devotee, and Hiranyakashipu, the demon. It's just like how we all are in this world and we are walking each other home. We all are walking each other home, but it's just that we don't find the right. We may not find the right association. We may choose otherwise. So we have to be so careful, and that's why chanting is so important.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
here
it's
also,
true.
Prahlāda is trying to help with that. We all are, I mean, everyone is trying to walk each other home. In a way, Hiranyakashipu is actually making Prahlāda more of a devotee also, by always saying against. When someone speaks against, I feel that we become more of a pure devotee. No, we trust what we are doing. So in a way, we all are walking each other home. So chanting really helps a lot. That is actually the base, the foundation. It's very important to chant. It's very important to chant. It will only give us more and more faith towards, more understanding and guidance and shelter and His mercy. So we have to chant
Yes,
more. Yeah.
thank
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Mm. Hare Krishna.
So we'll close on that note. Srimad
Yeah.
Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.